Welcome YouTube. Today we're going to be continuing more on SCP-001 when Daybreaks. We're back with Daybreaks. I'm very excited to see where far we can take this one today, and let's get right into it. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see where we go, and where to continue on from this. We're continuing on, which I see Undublin, which last time we checked on this, actually, it's about to tell us right now what happened. So, without further ado, let me just say my intro. Welcome in, everybody. I hope you guys all have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube. Help me out. It will help me out very much. And don't forget to follow me on Twitch because I do record all these live. So if you want to come here and see the videos as I record and be part of my YouTube videos, let's stop by. Anyways, let's get into this, shall we? Oh, thoughts on changelings? I don't know what changelings are by the mind, but if they could change, that's fine. I don't know. I don't know. They're just changelings.
Jacob, Elise and Kira were attached to a research team stationed in the city of Undublin. They had the good fortune of being underground when the sun melted the world they knew above. Relentless though, the flesh soon found them and began sweeping across the city. While the bobbies rallied and mounted a defence against the flesh, the trio fled to the Houses of Parliament. As Undublin drowned in fire and the bobbies made their last stand, the survivors found a ship to take them away from this fiery hell. A note inside promised them safety and a pint if they could make it to the shores of Undublin.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Recording 7. Last night we passed by what I can only assume is an approximation of the Flemish coast. There were these strange mechanical creatures arrayed along the shore. They all had a single shining lens at the centre of their faces.
You know what this looks like? You know what this looks like? You know what this looks like? It looks like horror. Looks like FNAF animatronics. What are these, Springlock suits? I'm just saying. It looks pretty Springlocky to me.
And clockwork bodies. It's hard to describe. They were quite a way away, but they moved along the coast to follow us. Some were on all fours, some were mostly upright. All were loping along without breaking line of sight with the large lenses that made up their faces. Elise and Kira were both fascinated. I have to wonder to myself what kind of horrors would await us if we actually debarked onto that dark continent. Still, we're making good time. Though there's the problem of the ripples in the water a dozen or so meters back. Kira's sure we're being followed, and I would tend to concur. But what's following us? I would have sworn a few hours ago I spotted a single fleshy eyeball just break the surface. But by the time I got Elise, it was gone. Kira thinks it's possible that there are other monsters in these waters, and maybe she's right. We only speak in hushed whispers now for fear of awakening something else.
True.
Elise is possibly dealing with things the least well out of all of us. Yesterday she just started laughing. Kira and I tried to quiet her down, but it didn't do any good. Eventually she started to quietly cry, and that settled her down. I'm not sure what to do. None of us are, to be honest.
I mean, it's understandable.
Recording 8.
Agent Hawksworth has been making these audio logs for some sort of therapeutic purpose. Sounds silly, but frankly, he's the sanest of us all, so I'm gonna give it a try. My name is Agent Kira North, former head of security for the SCP-1678 project.
Okay.
I say former because I'm pretty sure 1678 is either burned to cinders or drowning in melted flesh right now. Either way, there's not much to go back to. Hawksworth is trying to comfort Dr. Caperson right now, and I don't know how much longer she's gonna last. Hawksworth is a good sort, has a decent head on his shoulders. The man knows when to put his nose to the grindstone and risk a little to gain a lot. Elise Caperson is a mess. She was on temporary assignment when the world ended, and 5 will get you 10 that she's involved romantically with Hawksworth. He wouldn't admit to it, but I can see the way he looks at her. So we drag her along anyway. Hawksworth is probably right about her, actually. The number of living humans on Earth is probably in the thousands at most if the sun's gone wrong, so we'll need every man and woman we have to bring back civilization. I tried to use the radio on board, but all I got out of it was silence. It's possible we're not in the range of anyone or anything yet, but
True.
It's worth a try.
I guess.
We'll give it a test every other hour or so, and we'll keep alert to any incoming messages or warnings. Because the other thing is that we're definitely being followed. I don't want to spook anyone, but I saw the creature under the water this morning. It's about twice the size of the ship and moving at exactly our pace. This little steamer is just putting away without a care, but I guarantee you, as soon as we get to where we're going, that thing is going to make itself known. When that happens, I'll be ready. And I'll make sure Hawksworth is too. Hopefully Dr. Capperson is below decks when that happens.
Right.
Recording 9. Kira and Elise are below decks right now. There's a palpable sense of dread that I haven't felt since the night before the attack on the tent city. Elise says we ought to be in visual range of the Irish coast soon, and it won't be long after that we'll be docked in Dublin. Or Undublin, I guess. After the weird monsters I saw along the...
So, is it like the whole world? A different version of it? Like a pocket dimension, but an entire world choreographed in darkness? I'm assuming that what this world is maybe it's what that's what this world is.
European coast, I am a lot less confident in the safety of land down here. Where else are we going to go, though? There's only enough canned food on board to last us another few days, at most. I'm going to go check on Elise. Kira's not exactly the most caring person in the world.
What
Recording
is this
10.
ocean called? I don't remember.
Ah, allies. I see your boat on the horizon. Refugees of the great city of Unlondon. Come now, and see the fruits of my original labor.
This is Kira North. I would like to advise you that we are currently being followed by an unknown entity.
That is a troubling notion, but not one I was unable to predict. A flare is being fired from the docks. Make speed in that direction and pray.
Copy that. I see the flare. We will make our way to you.
Do not bother slowing down if you feel you are in danger. Crash if you must, and be prepared to depart as soon as you do.
Okay.
Dublin Bay is prepared to receive you.
I copy that. We'll see
Oh
you
my
when we land.
god, Undublin Bay. Let's see
Recording
what
11.
this thing was in the water.
The cause of the Republicans is just and grand, but there are greater...
Oh hey, it's Undublin. Or just Dublin as it looks like. I'm sorry. It's...
threats to consider now. Our illustrious city's creator is staying here for a time. I know, we threw him out on his ear when he opposed the unionization of the Guard, but as much hate as we might have for him, we owe him at least a small debt. London has fallen, and with it, the whole of Under England is sure to follow. Under Scotland may swiftly come under threat as well, and we stand to lose much by holding to old grudges. I know that hatred burns in the hearts of many of our citizens, but we are better than he is. I know this. I know your true hearts are filled with love and understanding, and an urge to burn the monsters that have begun to attack even our city with ever hotter fire. And we will. Undublin will not fall. We refuse to allow for that possibility.
Recording 12.
Okay.
Oh my god. These people are not fucking around.
Ooh, what was it?
It wasn't a flesh creature chasing us after all. It was an amalgamation of clockwork creatures, like the ones we saw on the beach in Flanders.
Whoa.
They somehow joined together into a massive approximation of a sea creature.
Oh my god, they did the things that the wolves did in the Storks. They made a submarine creature. It's like the submarine wolf.
And as soon as we got close to the docks, it rose up out of the water like some grand mechanical kraken. The first tentacle that rose from the water was blown apart by cannon fire, and it didn't stop. We were fearful for our lives, but the barrage was precisely aimed. The mechanical creature was bombarded and fell apart quickly. In seconds, there was no trace on the surface that it had ever existed, beyond a slick of oil. We were able to slow down enough to not damage our ship, and when we hopped off the boat, we were greeted by... I don't know how to describe it. Victorian-era gentlemen?
Yeah.
Faces wrapped in bandages,
Just
but
like
they
the
also
Bobbies.
wore very smart suits, cloaks and top hats, and each carried a massive cane or a stick as well. I suppose they're this place's equivalent of the Bobbies, but they appear to be able to speak.
Oh,
One asked
they
me if I was
speak.
alright and directed us into the city. There are other people here. Most appear to live in squalor, begging along the thoroughfare, but a few men and women appear to be of some means and walk along the roads, mostly ignoring the beggars. This might change everything. Elise has perked up considerably since we've landed. She's theorizing that Unlondon was unfinished, while this place is much more complete. It certainly seems that way to me, but she's the expert. Is it possible that we could live here? Recording 13.
I see, I see. Oh.
Jacob lent me
Okay.
his recorder. I'm actually quite astonished at the battery life of the thing, but I suppose it is to be expected from Foundation Tech. Either way, I should introduce myself. I'm Dr. Elise Capperson, former research assistant of the 1678 project heads, Drs. Mills and Hyatt. I'm unsure of what part of the city we're in, but the cannon and gunfire is constant. We're carrying our own weapons, but we've still been hurried into a library across the street from the pub I have to assume was our destination. The guards are standing watch just inside the door, prepared to defend the place. There are other civilians here. Some seem entrenched into this underworld aesthetic, and I suspect they've either been here a while or were made down here. But there are other survivors from above besides just us. This is astonishing. I had imagined that once the sun went wrong, that the whole world was slated to die. But apparently I was incorrect. I haven't met any other Foundation personnel yet, but there's plenty of people from Dublin. No one is sure about numbers, but it's suspected there might be more than a few hundred survivors from
Oh,
above.
that's cool.
And
Okay.
another woman who I am less sure of. I watched other survivors go up to her and thank her profusely. I haven't been close enough to overhear anything yet, but I think Agent North recognizes her.
Ooh, somebody
They're
knows some
both keeping their
drama.
distance from each other, though.
Drama.
The firefight outside appears to be dying down.
What are they fighting though?
They must be using something beyond cannon and firearms if they're going to win this, but we can't get a good look at any actual fighting. I see lots of red glare coming from the windows outside, but who knows?
What are they fighting?
Either way,
though?
I'm going to ask North about that weird woman. Hey, Jacob, thank you for this.
You're right.
I'm doing fine, just, thank you.
Ah, I like
Which
this.
button turns this off?
Recording 14.
I'm 90% sure that's Director Moose, which means it's possible the Wanderer's library is being used to evacuate people.
Oh.
I don't know if Moose recognizes me or not. Doesn't matter, though. At the end of the world, it's
That's a different organization, I'm pretty sure.
expected for people to call on any help they can get. Moose has contacts in the library, and if they want to help save people, then here we are. I have to assume this library is some sort of nexus point, but that's also not really any of my business. Not everyone here is from Dublin, so they didn't come from directly above. I have to wonder what's going on in the library itself right now. That's above my pay grade, if we're being honest. But
Oh, is
if
that?
they can open ways in and out, then going on in the library itself right now. That's above my pay grade, if we're being honest. But if they can open ways in and out,
Was that just a plugin? I
maybe
think
there are
that's the
people
plugin.
safe there too. How many extra-dimensional spaces are housing people far away from the sun?
Right, true.
Humanity's gonna make it through this one way or another. Diminished, but standing, I think.
Recording 15. Undublin is safe again, for now. We left the library and the whole refugee situation they've got going on over there. It's probably for the best, resources being what they are. Then we went over to the pub. There were glasses for all of us, even some of the guards were there. Their bandages lowered to reveal a burnt, red, cracked mouth to drink through. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there, but they're all friendly enough and frighteningly competent. What the creator of Unlondon said to me just now has shaken me to my very core, though, and I don't know how to respond yet. North and Capperson haven't spoken yet, but I want to make sure this gets recorded.
Okay, what is it?
First, the creator of Unlondon isn't a person. I don't know how to describe it. But the place where he should have been sitting was just a starry hole in space.
Oh my
No matter
god.
what angle we looked at him, the edges had some sort of skin. He moved like he had bones, but that's all. And he finished quite a few pints of Guinness before finishing his request that we help him destroy the entire world. His plan...
I was gonna say, you know what it looks like? It looks like that Infinity Marvel. Was it yeah, I think it's in Marvel's, right? Marvel's Infinity character, or character that represents infinity, right? Or the embodiment of infinity. It looks like that character. I'm not gonna lie, but it's damn. All right, so he's I'm assuming he's some kind of reality warper.
is madness. and also maybe one of the best things I've ever heard. He wants to trigger a nuclear war. North knows a bit more
For a
than me,
nuclear
her clearance being
winter.
higher than mine, but when the creator
Oh.
mentioned SCP-1984, she seemed to know exactly what he was talking about. Some Russian Cold War relic that is ready to initiate nuclear Armageddon at a moment's notice. The creator of this place seems to think that if we can gain access to a British nuclear sub, we might be able to launch the missiles into Russian airspace, triggering an all-out attack as a response. If the flesh burns in fire, he said, what's better than fire everywhere at once? I hardly can disagree, but Elise was against it at first. She mentioned the nuclear winter, how the sun would be blocked out for years, and then she stopped mid-sentence and we all realised what this could mean.
Yeah.
And that's how a hole where a man should be, in a city that doesn't exist, in a world with a broken sun, just convinced us to trigger an end-of-the-world scenario in order to stop another end of the world from progressing.
Yeah, good idea.
Heavens help us. We're going topside today. The Foundation has a submarine moored in Dublin, and we're going to take it out and start looking around. Elise is going to stay behind and help care for the refugees. I think I'll leave this recorder with her. I'd hate to see it sink to the bottom of the ocean after all. Someone ought to know what happened down here. So, this is Agent Hawkswift.
I wonder if
signing off, I guess.
I wonder if this goes off well for him. I'm hoping they succeed.
People of Undublin, you have fought with the fervor expected from a people of such courage and grace. The invaders are once again repelled and at minimal losses. But not all is well in Undublin. The entrance to the surface will be shortly closed, permanently. I know many of you came through the stairway and expected family to follow. We have kept the stairway open for as long as we could, but despite the efforts of our brave guard, it is impossible to do so forever. Given the stairway is clogged with burning, screaming flesh monsters, I do not believe there was much point in it remaining open. Your loved ones are the ones around you right now. The rest have succumbed to the horrors above. I apologize for the harshness of my tone and the news I must deliver, but I believe wholeheartedly that we will survive this
That's a
terror and
sea
come
of
out
just
alive on the other side.
flesh.
Even now, a select group of guards and other survivors are making a trip through the portal to the above world. The last travelers to make the jump for some time, and they leave with a plan to bring the fight to the enemy. I cannot tell you what this plan is, for who knows who else might be listening, but know this. We will retake the surface. We will emerge into that bright, shining world, full of vigor and resolve, and with the sun restored. I swear it. That is all for now. Thank you, my friends, and may God save Ireland.
Oh my god, I love this. Oh, so okay, that's it. But what distinguished gentlemen we have here. Hopefully it works out for them good. All right, we got a 10-minute one next. Yeah, let's go ahead and do the 10-minute one. All right. There we go.
A quick word from today's sponsor, and we'll get started. Christmas is around the corner, so why not treat your SCP playing cards now?
All right, let's get into this one. Let's see what this one is.
Good day everyone, and welcome back. The Shy Guy in the When Day Breaks universe has been a heavily requested video for me to cover up there with the
Really?
Reptile 682, but I have plans for him. Anyway, today I'm covering
Oh,
a
hint,
gut-wrenching
hint,
tale
hint.
called Unexpected Light. Enough chit-chat, and let's get started.
Okay, let's get right into it. I'm excited. I'm excited.
He was alone. Alone in the site that once contained him. He could remember that this place used to be full of scientists and agents. But now there is only the shadow of what the site was. The shadows are fleshy things that would just ignore him, and he would ignore them too, because they were never looking at him or his face. He did not go outside. The outside scared him more than anything. He was scared of the outside, not because he would become one of these shadows, but because he had the horrible feeling that someone would look at him, at his body, at his face. He also knew it would not be a person that was looking at him, it would be the sun, and he would not be able to do a single thing about it. The idea of going outside at night was an option, but he was still too scared. Besides, he had no reason to go outside. Inside the site he was alone. There was no one to look at him. He was free to cry alone in the darkness. It was like a paradise for him. Then one day he was sobbing alone, like every other day, when he heard a voice. The voice of a woman. He could hear the woman asking for help and food. Through the sound of the sobbing, he heard her come closer. He could hear the voice begging for help as she approached little by little.
Oh no.
When she arrived in the room with him, she screamed in fear, terrified by the crying pale monster that was sobbing in the corner of the room. Surprised by the scream, he turned around. He could see the woman, as well as a small child holding her hand.
Oh no.
The woman was looking directly at him, and directly at his face. He could feel the anger, an emotion that he had not felt in a long time. He screamed so loudly that the woman fled in panic, leaving the child that was holding her hand alone. He could feel the anger boiling again. The woman seized her chance to run through the hallway of the site and into the stairs. As the anger subsided, he realized. She looked at his face.
His face. His face. My face.
His hunting instinct rang out again. He could tell that she was running on the floor beneath him. He raised his arms above his head and started punching the ground of the dilapidated site, sinking his claws into the cracked floor. He drove them deeper and deeper until it gave way.
I'm curious, what if she ran outside, right, and lured it outside, and since she's wearing the protection, she could have lured the monster outside, and it would have been taken by the sun. We would have turned goop. Then she'd have to deal with that. But that's better than this, technically. Or easier to avoid than this.
He jumped into the newly formed entry and rushed in the direction of his target. He charged through wall after wall, clearing a path to get to his prey faster, concrete shattering and rebar twisting in his frantic rush.
Light?
The woman continued running. She looked over her shoulder to see the monster catching up to her more and more. While she looked back, she failed to realize that she was outside. She swore, knowing her fate. At that moment, her body started melting, beginning with her head. Her nose dropped off her face, hitting the ground with a splashing sound. One of her eyes popped out of her skull, leaving the eye hanging on a single stringy vein. She tried to move to the refuge of the shadow, but her legs were already decomposed into so much red flesh mud. She screamed in pain, until her mouth melted too. The monster looked furiously at the dying prey, stolen from him. After the painful death of his target, he continued sobbing, like always. He was interrupted by the sound of another human, not from the woman, now a shadow like the rest,
the kid,
but from behind him. He turned back. The little girl that had been holding the woman's hand was standing in front of him.
Is she blind?
The girl was crying and calling the name of her mother. When she finished rubbing her eyes, she opened them and looked in the direction of the pale monster, directly at his face. Nothing. Nothing? She clearly looked directly at his face, but he did not feel angry. He was confused. He approached the child to make sure of what he had just witnessed. Sure, he and the child clearly made eye contact, but the girl did not see the face. This little girl was blind.
Oh my god.
The girl was still crying and asking for help. She assumed there was someone else with her since she heard the sound of crying. She approached the sound by lifting her arms to make sure she would not bump into something else. Once she touched the monster, she said with a tiny and innocent voice,
"Oh no,
These
no,
simple
no, no,
words
no, no,
touched
no,
the
this is...
monster.
Stop.
He thought he would only feel sadness and anger for the rest of his life.
Stop. Oh
But
my
these
god,
words
this is so
changed
sad.
everything. With this realization, the confusion turned to happiness.
Don't you dare call her daughter.
He looked
You
at
don't
the little
deserve
girl
it.
to make sure that she was real, and he slowly surrounded the girl with his long arms to hug her. The girl, who was searching for hope, accepted this hug and hugged him back. The crying of both the monster and the little girl stopped.
Oh no.
They lived together. The monster found a friend, and the little girl found a guardian. When the monster was interacting with the girl, he felt human.
No.
He was treated like an animal in his cell, like a monster.
He's gonna have to defend and
Nobody could
provide
think that
for
there was
her
a
now.
heart inside that ruthless killer. For the first time, he found someone that could understand him. The girl too was happy with the monster. She didn't know what he looked like, but she knew what he really was.
Okay.
He was a surprisingly good parent.
Okay. If she knows and she's fine with it, okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine with me. But I don't think it's like he's like the best thing to protect her. Sorry, I'm trying to look for something real quick. But I would say, but you know, you gotta be careful because you know, There it is. Let me sorry. I'm very happy for this, but like, my God, this is. She just killed the mother. I feel like that's kind of overlooked here, but that's fine. That's fine. This tragic world, we could overlook stuff like this.
Protect the girl at any cost.
Okay.
The monster would even bring food, most of the time scavenged from other survivors. On one occasion, the girl tripped on a metal beam. The monster was so furious he destroyed the beam as he would kill any other prey. He took the beam between his long fingers and slammed it into the wall in front of him, screaming furiously until the wall collapsed. Afterward, there was nothing left of the beam, and the girl seemed happy about it. The girl had total confidence in the monster, confidence he shared. Nothing could stop them.
The flesh is gonna try to take the daughter.
The only thing that ever bothered them was the flesh shadows. The things tried to make prey of the little girl, trying to push her into the brightness of the sun by imitating the sound of her mother, or trying to simply kill her themselves. But every time the shadows became a nuisance, the pale monster would swiftly correct them. They couldn't approach the girl. Even the deceptive voice of the flesh creatures wouldn't reach the girl through the screams of the monster. The monster protected the girl, no matter what. There was only that one day, that one single moment, that destroyed everything.
Oh no.
The monster and the girl were playing around with the rubble of the site. He had a bad feeling. Looking back at the little girl only to see she was not near him anymore. He looked all around him. She was not there. He left the room only to see the little girl walking towards the entrance. She was 2 feet from it. 2 feet from outside where she would meet the sunlight. The little girl was following the voice of the Shadow Man, but this one wasn't imitating the sound of her mother. Its voice was that of the crying monster.
Oh no.
He was far from the entrance. He ran so fast, faster than he would track prey. The girl didn't stop. She was still following his false twin's voice.
No.
He was so close to stopping her, but she was already outside when he arrived. The little girl screamed in pain as one of her arms began to melt. The monster made a choice. Without hesitation, he left the building to confront the sun. He too began to melt, but it wouldn't matter. He got above the little girl and blocked the sunlight that had been melting her. The pain was immeasurable, but it wouldn't matter. So long as he protected the girl, he knew he would not survive. He just hoped that the girl would. The monster dragged her back into the site while blocking any sunlight from reaching her. She was unconscious and her left arm was missing. The melting of his body didn't stop. He knew he would become one of these flesh things soon. He took a final look at the girl and shed a single tear. The tear landed on the arm of the child, and by miracle, the melting stopped. He ran as fast as he could away from the site to make sure he would not harm the child. He only stopped when his legs were entirely melted. He could not see the site anymore, but he could now look upon the sea. He laid on his back and looked one last time at the sun, placed just above the ocean. He looked on as his eyes melted. He gave a long, powerful scream that could be heard from a mile away, a scream so powerful it dragged the dust off the ground, carrying it far into the distance. A scream of sadness, mixed with anger. Then the scream stopped, leaving the silence behind. A dead silence. And that concludes SCP-096's story in the When Day Breaks universe. I hope you enjoyed this.
What the fuck? That's not happy at all. I feel so bad for him. Oh my god. Oh my god, so fucked. And then, you know, the girl's not gonna be fine either, because nobody's gonna find her, and the monster's gonna go right after her soon. Soon, because something was calling her voice. Or the monster's voice. Copying the monster's voice. So, they're gonna go after the girl, and she's gonna die. So both of them died here. And that's so fucked. Whoa. Whoa, that's so fucked. That is... Whoa, that's... Oh, wow. 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 Well, to say the least... Damn, that was sad. I actually felt bad for the 096. Whoa. Shy guy. No. Aw. Ah, damn. And here thought was gonna be a nice story for the next one. Alright. That's gonna be it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed YouTube. That was fucked. That was sad. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed all this content, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye, my lost souls.